Hi guys, welcome back. So, it took me a good couple of hours to get over England missing out, not taking their massive opportunity of beating the All Blacks. But well done the All Blacks. They came back from 15-0 down. Really impressive actually to come back from that. And England didn't score after 15, so I can't take it away from New Zealand. They were worth their win. If England had snuck it at the end, they'd have been worth their win. So, what a great game. I was a sweaty mess through the whole game. It was really exciting. So, I'm kind of 50-50, but it's probably a good exercise for England, really. Getting that close, but a win would have been great. If they beat Australia, hopefully they'll beat Japan, but if they beat Australia, then it would have been a real success for England this autumn series, and they'll go away very happy with what they've done. If they then lose to Australia after the back of that massive effort, that's a huge letdown and they will be very disappointed. So still in the balance for England. Just have a quick look through the game. So the first 30 minutes, obviously, England were awesome. Okay, what they did is they did not let New Zealand play. That's what it was. New Zealand weren't necessarily poor, they were just a little asleep, they were a little bit below their normal intensity levels, and England were just on it. Absolutely on it, and everything went their way as well. Their kick chase game was brilliant, and they just didn't let New Zealand play, and they were 15-0 down before they even knew it. And all England needed to do was get a couple of penalties, or even one, and the game would have been theirs. Anyway, there you go. So then, but it was raining. That was a big one, okay? It's at home and it was raining, and we know England play well in the rain, and didn't they have a game plan set up for it? Real simple phase play, but hard and quick and getting over the game line, quick ball, proved by the Ashton try, and also not overcomplicating it. New Zealand's phase play, after that first 30 minutes, I was actually very impressed. They kept the ball really well in the wet. I was just waiting for them to drop the ball and give England that chance to get back in the game. But during phase play, they kept hold of the ball so well. They do offload more. They run slightly more natural supporting lines in general play. And they got in behind England a few times. Luckily, they made mistakes, or England did something good and snuffed out the danger. But yeah, no, a lot of credit for New Zealand's phase play when they finally woke up. It was impressive in the wet. Just going through the England team quickly here, the front row did really well. Really well. Better than last week, I thought. The starting front row scrummaged really well. That was an even contest, and the New Zealand scrum is excellent, and the English scrum creaked last week. So well done, Ben Moon coming in on the loose head. What a great debut start for him. And Hartley had his best game I've seen him play for ages. I know I wanted George starting, and I'll stick by that still, just about, but Hartley was brilliant. And it's a shame he had to go off. Supposedly he'd hurt his thumb, and it's not a tournament game, so I guess you don't take any risks. And George hopefully should have stepped up, but he had a bit of a shocker in the line-out, or the line-out had a bit of a shocker. So again, George doesn't take his chance there. But anyway, they did well. A Tojay, I'll mention, harried and hassled and was a pain in the bum, and he stayed on the right side of the law. What's so good about a Tojay, and defence coaches will love this, is he does double plays all the time. He'll make a tackle and bounce up and do something else, or he'll do one or two or three things in the same set of play, not the same phase of play, but the same area of action, if you like. He's always there. He's not slowly getting up off the ground. He's so quick and a nuisance, and he did it just right. So well done to him. Shields definitely stepped up. Playing New Zealand, you thought he would, and he did. I didn't think he was great last week, so well done to him. Although he was then eclipsed by Courtney Lawes, who came on to 6 onto the blind side and was epic. And if he'd only dropped back a couple of feet, if Steve Hansen's to be believed, like a couple of metres, but a foot offside, I think he probably was in the end, probably. But he was amazing. And then there's that debate, could you play a Lawes or a Tojay at 6? Well, I think in the rain, in a slower type game, then yes. In a quick hard ground game, I'll still probably go no. But it's interesting, that one. And then Underhill was awesome. absolutely awesome. Some of his tackles were insane. If only he'd scored that try against Barrett and it was given, he'd be dining out on that for years. He'd be like non-stop on the after dinner circuit with that story. But anyway, I'll tell you what, whilst we're on Underhill, let's just talk defence for a little bit. And statistics. Okay, I've got a little thing about statistics. I like them, but I hate over-reliance on them or too much inference into them. I like to get my opinion by watching the game and then looking at the stats to see if it backs up what I think. If it doesn't, then thinking why that might be. Because what statistics don't have is context. And in a complex sport like rugby, context is everything. And if you lose that context, you can then start reading into statistics and trying to find patterns and things that are important when maybe they're not quite. For example, England's defence, most people thought was awesome at the weekend. But then you look at the tackles missed and they were very high. So you go, well, actually, was it that good? Well, yes, it was. But what, and they can make it better, of course. You don't want to miss that many tackles. But what it is England's line speed is insane, and their line speed is faster than is prudent, would you say? Because they're banking on, if the first person misses the tackle, which is more likely with that sort of line speed in the wet because it's easy to be sidestepped or a little offload, then the next person's going to get them. So it's not a kind of one person has to make the tackle or we're stuffed. It's, if that one person makes the tackle, we're in an awesome position behind the gain line. If they don't, then the next person will come in and make the next tackle. You know, the problem comes, of course, is when you miss 2 or 3 tackles and then they're well in behind. So it's a high-risk strategy, but it can completely disrupt a team and demoralise them if they're getting smashed behind the gain line. So, you know, that's the context that kind of explains why they had a good defensive game but still had poor defensive statistics. So I would just say be careful of statistics, trust what you see first and what you feel, and then look into them. But anyway, that's enough of that sort of boring chat there about stats. Lies, damn lies, and statistics, they say. Anyway, going into the backs, Youngs was the perfect guy to start that game, wet weather kicking game. Wigglesworth would actually be the next best guy to start that game, interestingly, probably not Care. And Farrell, I thought was brilliant again, really, really good. Apart from his decision to kick for the corner instead of take the points, when what they'd actually done is they'd then kicked the corner first and then got a better penalty position, 15 in, because it was from a line out, and then they should have kicked it. So it wasn't the first decision, it was the second one, but oh well. May, I thought, was good again. Teo did his job a lot better this time, got over the gain line better, was very robust in defence, nothing flash. Slade, again, was good, but he just needs to be careful, because if he doesn't, it's harsh, but at international level, when you're not established, he needs to do something special, have a bit of a special game, because otherwise someone's going to take his position. He does special stuff for Exeter. He needs to show he can do that at international level. So I think that Australian game, if he starts, which I think he will, is big for him. It's big for him. Daly, Ashton, I thought brilliant. Look, right at home at international rugby, really looks the part. Well taken chance. Daly gets more time at 15, looking more accomplished and comfortable. So that's great for him. Then you'll have Brown and Daly, who will be very interchangeable. Noel's just got to watch out, just someone from the bench. Again, he came on and he just doesn't look quite quick enough to me to beat a player. Maybe I'm being harsh, let me know what you think, but I just don't think he's quite quick enough, and he might be under pressure from some other guys coming in. Very quickly, team to play Japan. Front row might be interesting. They might rest a lot of them, because even though some haven't started, they still have played a lot of minutes, so they might just completely change the front row, so I'll just hold fire on that one. I'd go Laws and Yules in the second row. I'd like to see that. Yules did well again coming on. He just needs to add a bit of a USP, maybe it's size for him. Laws was fantastic, so athletic, he looked really on it. I'd like to see Rhodes. I would like to see Rhodes at 6 to see what he can offer. I think Mercer deserves a start, but I think we need to see Morgan as well. So I'd have Morgan at 8 and Mercer at 7. Rhodes at 6. It's got a big back row. I quite like it. A lot of skill there. A lot of size as well. Wigglesworth I would give a start. Let's see what he's like starting. We know about Kerr. He's played a lot of minutes. Even though it's harsh not to give him a start, he's going to be used for Australia. So I'd probably have him on the bench again, which is just how it is. Ford gets a start for me with Tuolangi and Merchant at 13, so 12-13. That's a powerful, exciting midfield, pace and power. Earl I'd give a start, and Cokanasiga, definitely need to see him coming off his wing. What England don't have is a winger who can come off his wing and bust holes. Ashton can trail and get on the shoulder, and Noel can duck in and around the ruck, but Cokanasiga is that George North type player that England just don't have. Let's have a look at him. And then Brown to get a start at 15. He'll be chomping at the bit to try and get his place back from Daly. Anyway, so a couple of other things before we move on. Crotty versus Sonny Bill Williams. Now, Sonny Bill was very quiet in the first 30, possibly because England was so good. Then he had to go off and Crotty came on, and I thought he was great. So big tick for Crotty against Sonny Bill. I know Crotty can play 13 as well. So, no, I don't know. What would be your midfield for the New Zealand first choice? Another little shout out there for you guys, the New Zealand fans. What do you think of, now I'm not saying Beauden Barrett shouldn't be New Zealand's first choice 10. I'm just saying when it's rainy and maybe you don't have too many other people available, maybe Geordie Barrett's not available, how about seeing a Mo'unga 10 and a Beauden Barrett 15 set up for a certain game? You know, Mo'unga's a brilliant kicker, he's got good game management, he's getting better and better and better. I trust him with a start. And then you have Beauden Barrett as your counter-attacker, your kicking option, second receiver, another ball player. I'd like to see it. Maybe it's sacrilege suggesting Beauden Barrett doesn't start at 10 if he's fit, but how about that for a game, for a situation? Let me know what you think. Yeah, so I've talked about the Lord's no try. It was no try. It took me about an hour to kind of admit it to myself. I knew deep down it was. I was just like, could we not have another break? But that's just being greedy, so that's fine, I suppose. And if it rained in Japan for the World Cup, it looks like England will be very well set up for that. But it won't do all the time. But anyway, that's good to see, but take it in context as well. We need to see England play really well in a dry, quick game as well. Okay, anyway guys, your thoughts on England, players who played well, any of the points I've raised there about New Zealand as well. And until next time, I will see you then.